Okay, we are looking at the Chapter 6 practice test solutions. So, don't forget you can just pause and copy what you need to copy. And you are allowed to use these notes as you test tomorrow. So make sure you show all the work because it might help you tomorrow figure out how to do your test problems. Anyway, notice we've got more than one question about a unit rate. Remember, the unit rate is when the denominator equals 1. How do you make it equal 1? Well, for example, if it's 37, you divide it by itself and it becomes 1. Okay, now there's more than one way to solve problems when you're using proportion. When you have one fraction equal another fraction, that's a proportion. One way is to look at your denominator and see what would I multiply it by to equal the other denominator. If you can figure that out, then you multiply the numerator by that same number and you'll have your unknown x discovered, and you can answer that. If it's not real obvious though, you want to use the cross multiplication method where 14 times 3 is going to equal 7 times x. And so I've showed both methods here with these two different problems. Okay, number 3 is similar figures. And so you have to stay consistent when you set up your proportion. So notice I've got the slanted side to the long side. 21 to 36 is to slanted side and long side of the similar smaller figure. And then you can use cross multiplication to get your solution. Okay, what is the percent value round to the nearest tenth? I want to remind you, you don't do your rounding until you change it to a percent. So you're going to carry out this division a little ways. And remember, it's 4 divided by 13 is how you read this fraction. So 4 is in the house, 13 is outside the house. And you divide. And anyway, so I show the work there. Okay, what is the percent value for this decimal? Remember, when you change a decimal to a percent, is 2 moves to the right with the decimal. So this happens to still be a decimal percent. Okay, number 6, find 7% of 32 using proportion. Alright, remember when we practiced this in class, we used a little bar setup. And remember that the number that follows the word of is your whole number. Okay, so your whole number always goes across from the 100%, and then whatever your percentage, like this one's 7%, it would go up here and there's the unknown, and then you do the percent, the proportion setup here and cross multiply to solve. Okay, this is another proportion, only the number following the of is your unknown variable. So that would be the whole number here, the unknown, and the 75 is the partial, and then which would be 25% of the unknown number. So anyway, again, cross multiply. Okay, let's look at the back. And I'm going to have to go a little faster because YouTube limits my time. Okay, so I've put a few notes to remind you of the meanings of some of these words as you set up equations. Don't forget, when you set up an equation, you change your percents to a decimal. Okay, so let me just run all this by you here. There's number 9. Here's 10. Find the percent of change. Remember, percent of change is change over the original number. So to find your change, you find the difference between the two numbers. And don't forget to say if it's increasing or decreasing. Okay, so I'm showing the work for those two there. Number 11, don't forget to change this percent to a decimal. It's asking you for simple interest for $175, and so you times your 5%, which is 0.05, Times 175, you get 875. But don't forget, that's only for 1 year. They're asking you for 3 years, so you have to multiply it by 3. Okay, now, this is a ratio of biographies to fictional novels. Notice we get an improper fraction, but you're going to leave it that way because it is a ratio. So just leave it one number compared to the other. Which is the better buy? You always put your dollar amount over your ounces, and then you reduce that to a unit rate. And I didn't identify my better buy. That one was the better buy because it is less money per ounce. Okay, so let's move on. Number 14 here, I showed the work kind of right up here at the top. And notice I changed 3/4 to a decimal. That makes it easier to reduce the whole thing. How did I change it? Well, just do 3 divided by 4. Put that in a calculator. You'll notice 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. And just add it to your whole number. Okay. Let's look now at the next one. It's a chart or a table. And you have to identify the fastest rate. So it's going to be the most meters per minute. Okay. We've got indirect measure where a flagpole casts a shadow, and then you have the unknown height of a person standing nearby with its shadow, and or his shadow I should say. So you can cross multiply to solve that one. And notice I had to round it, so I used the little wavy equal for approximate. Okay. When I cross multiplied here, 1 times x just gives you x, so that's why I didn't show the 1. 5.5 times 2.5, so that's what I was really doing. I didn't show my cross multiply circles here, but I cross multiplied. Okay, number 18, write these percents as a decimal. I've got 3 different practice ones. Remember to write it as a decimal. It's 2 moves to the left. So that's what I did with all of them, and there's my solutions. Number 19, 22% of the school students ride bikes to school. What fraction rides bikes? You set it up as 22 over 100 because remember percent means per 100, and then you just reduce it, 11 over 50. Okay, there's 8 cats that had kittens, so now there are 72. What's the percent increase? So first find your difference. Put the change amount over the original number of cats. I get 8. Well, remember you have to change it to a percent, so move it 2 spaces to the right to change to a percent. It's 800% increase. Those cats really multiplied. All right. Now the last page, 21. Item price. Now there's 2 ways of going about these problems. So I showed one method on the left. I showed the other method on the right. Okay, so the first method is to find your discount amount and then subtract it from the original amount, and there's your sale price. Okay, the other way is to subtract your percent discount from 100%. You're going to end up paying 85% of it. So you take that 85 times the original, and there's your sale price that way, $3.61. Either way works, okay? However, if you get a question that asks you what's the discount amount, you're going to have to use this method. Okay, here's a wholesale price, $8.50. Markup is 45%. What's the retail price? Again, there's 2 ways. So you can find the markup here and add it to the wholesale price is $12.33, or you can say that it is 1.45. Remember to take the original price times 1. That gives you your original price, and if you have the 45 added to it, you're going to get it combined together. So notice that gets you the same price. Oh, maybe you couldn't see that. Uh-oh. Let me go back to this one. Maybe you couldn't see that one either. I didn't realize it wasn't showing in the camera. Now can you see 21? Okay, and back to 22. Okay, gotta watch that camera. Alrighty, the last one, 23. $14.50 is the item price. The discount's 25%. I change it to a decimal. What's the discount amount? So $14.50 times 0.25. The discount amount is going to round to $3.63. Okay, show all this work on your practice test. Bring it with you tomorrow to class, and you'll be able to use it as you test. And hopefully you'll take time to study these notes and not make mistakes on your test. Well, best wishes, study hard, see you tomorrow.